Hello, it's great to see you. Hey friend, you're not alone. Come in, our hearts are open. Welcome home. Come on, the Spirit's moving. Our love is here to grow. Wake up, our coffee is brewing. Welcome home. This is my place. This is your place. This is our place. Welcome home. Woo! Hello. It's great to see you. Hey, friend. You're not alone. Come in. Our hearts are open. Welcome home. Come on. The Spirit's moving. Our love is here to grow. Clap it out. Wake up. Our coffee's brewing. Welcome home. Welcome home. Put your feet up. Welcome home. Woo! Good morning. I love the fluke in that. That's fantastic. Fun.
The invocation is before.
It's changing.
We get to pray some more.
Yes, yes. Oh, darn.
Once again, I stand before you grateful and blessed to be here, to be in the presence of all these divine beings, to see the light, to feel the light within myself, to see the light within each and every one of you. Please know and recognize, no matter where you are in your journey, that the light of the divine is within you always, loving you, caring for you, nurturing you, guiding you. We are here this morning to remind each other of that and to celebrate it. And for that, I'm grateful. And together we say, and so it is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So good morning and welcome to the Everyday Center for Spiritual Living, where we empower each other to live joy-filled lives when?
Every day.
We come together to remember and to remind each other that each one of us here online, on Zoom, on Facebook, is an individual aspect in the allness of the flow of the divine. Everything God is in the universal, each one of us is in the individual. And we come together to celebrate that, how great that feels. So I'm Deborah, one of your practitioners. Please silence your cell phones, but first check in on Facebook and let people know you're here. So are there any first-time visitors or anyone who hasn't been in here in a while? Please wave your hand. And yes, hi, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Isabella.
This one?
Isabella.
Isabella, welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here. Yes.
I'm Bob Carson. It's been a while.
Yeah.
This is the first time-
Good to see you, Bob.
First time I've come. Yeah, I've been in the physical facility. I've been on Zoom before, but it's really nice because it's very tactile.
That's great. Good to see you. It's been a while since I've seen you. Did you want to introduce
I'll
yourself?
say hello. I'm Charly, and I haven't been here in a while. I'm happy to be back.
I'm glad. And she's going to share some beautiful music with us this morning, so that's exciting. Does anybody have a birthday, an anniversary, or something to celebrate? I do.
It was on the 27th.
Birthday? Happy
Happy
birthday!
birthday, Evie.
Happy birthday. Anybody else? Birthday, celebration, something we can honor you for? I have a small one. I got a small piece of work this week, so that was grand.
That's wonderful.
Always happy. Always happy to get some more work. So,
I have, what do the newspapers call it? A clarification? I have a clarification.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
So last week, the people who were here or online, hi everybody, thought they heard Denise say that we were moving.
God. No.
Now, let me just say that there are little padded cells for people who have had too much. And, you know, they're comfy and everything. And that's exactly where I would be if we were moving again. We are not moving. What Denise meant to share is that her stepmother passed last summer, and it's her stepmother's home that has been on the market all this time and has finally sold.
Hey, yay!
So what we are knowing together now, all of us, is an escrow without any speed bumps, and it just closes it's supposed to close at the end of the month, and the family is released from this task.
Yes.
So we're not moving. Can I get a big hoo-yah?
thank you so much, dear one.
However it goes.
So we have a new schedule that started on January 5th. So please plan to arrive early. You don't want to miss anything.
Nope.
So at 9:30, we now have a pre-service meditation, and that's also online. Then at 9:50, we have a pre-service prayer, and then at 9:55, we have our meet and greet. So I want to keep you updated on what's happening. So please mark your calendars. Following the service on March the 2nd, we'll be hosting a celebration of life for our much loved and missed Gay Doman, who made her transition late last year. Some of her family members will be here in attendance, as well as other friends. All are welcome. The celebration will start at noon. So I know many of us really remember Gay very fondly. Please add your recommendations to the community giving list. We'll be voting on our fourth quarter recipients Sunday, February 16th. And then for an extra faith lift today after service, you can come sit with a practitioner for one-on-one prayer. I'm available, Carol's available, I think Yvette's available, and Jean is available online. Oh, and Patty. And so please take advantage of this. It's really very fundamental to our tradition is a 5-step prayer treatment. And so if you haven't had one, come give yourself that gift after service. And our musical guest next week is Anita Het.
Kristen, could you reiterate
Oh, you know what I forgot?
the celebration
to sing.
We didn't sing.
place and time?
Sorry, Steve?
A celebration for Gay Doman,
Date.
place and
March
time,
2nd.
March 2nd.
March 2nd.
and date,
March 2nd.
March 2nd,
It's a Sunday.
and here.
Here,
Yes, it'll be
right
here.
after service.
Thank you.
And I almost didn't get to our singing, so we sing, we celebrate you to the tune of Happy Birthday. So take it away.
We celebrate you. We celebrate you. We celebrate you. We celebrate you. We celebrate you.
Sorry for the name.
Lighting the flames of faith, a call to service. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature, divine love, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the middle way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light the healing candle. Please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love. Now please stand, face your screen or the central aisle. Close your eyes and put your hands over your heart. Take a moment to breathe in the loving intentions we've just sent out to the world. Now open your eyes, and with the eyes of God, see God looking back at you. Namaste.
I'm Carol Rose, in case you didn't know that, practitioner here. And it is my joy this morning to do a reading based on Ann's talk title, Not Doing. And as you know, I always comment on our talk titles because that's what we use to find our readings. And to me, not doing was easy because that just meant being, right? That's what it meant to me anyway. So that's what you're going to get. And I had a lot of fun this morning, although it took me 5 or 6 different books before I got to what I wanted to share with you. So we're going to start with some words. The title of the section is Be All You Can Be, from Melody Beattie's Journey to the Heart, which I really find a lot of good meditations in. So, step out into the cool night air. Look at the stars. See how they shine. Know that it is okay for you to shine too. Who told you you had to hold back? Who told you your gifts, your talents, your beauty, your natural, beautiful, loving, delightful self was wrong? Who told you not to be all you could be? Maybe, as some suggest, we've gotten too comfortable focusing on our flaws, our errors, our dark side. Perhaps it's not our dark side we fear. Perhaps we're really afraid of our gifts, our brilliance, our light. Now is a time of light. It's time for us to shine. We've worked hard on ourselves, dealt with our issues, gone back to the past. We've learned our lessons well. The reasons to hold back and hide away are no longer there. Enjoy the fruits of your labors. Be all you can be, and enjoy being that. Don't hold back. Use your gifts with joy. Use your talents. Let your light shine for all the world to see. Not to me. I'm not sure I need to follow that with anything, but I did find one other. I found lots in this other book called The Tao of Spirit, which is a lovely book. You know what? We may not get to it because I apparently didn't mark the page very well. Yes, I did. Never mind. I was starring all kinds of pages as I was reading it to go back to. Here we go. This is a good one, too. Once we embrace the reality that all things are spirit, and that the body, the emotions, and the mind are all spirit, manifesting differently, each doing their own nature, we do not go against the nature. We allow the nature to flow without being hung up in it, without overly identifying with it. Don't let yourself get confused when you have depressions, anxiety, and frustrations, that you're sitting anywhere less than in the presence of the divine. And the affirmation, which I was going to read as part of a reading, is actually a couple lines from Walt Whitman. So I'll read them and then we'll do them with you following after me. I exist as I am, that is enough. If no other in the world be aware, I sit content. I know. All right, follow after me. I exist as I am.
I exist as I am.
That is enough.
That is enough.
If no other in the world be aware,
If no other in the world be aware,
I sit content.
I sit content.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Carol. That was beautiful. So I'm very happy this morning to be here to introduce Charly Drobeck, our musical guest. Charly has lived and made music in northern New Mexico since 1985. She appreciates a broad spectrum of many different areas of musical exploration. And Charly would like me to invite you all. She'll be accompanying the poet Joan Logie, who will be reading from her latest book on March 16th at Collected Works in the afternoon, a Sunday afternoon. And I'm very grateful that Charly is with us this morning. And Charly also wanted me to extend her gratitude for being with us this morning.
Yes.
Please join me in welcoming Charly Drobeck. And we're sort of uncertain about what we're going to do first. So, we're going to do a beautiful Leonard Cohen song called "A Thousand Kisses Deep."
Get to sit down so we don't poke each other with our instruments.
So you wait.
Yeah.
Thank you. Joseph? I mean, seriously. Your musical heart knows no bounds. Thank you. Woo! What a day we've already had.
Mhm.
Good morning, every day.
Good morning.
What a day we've already had.
Look at that.
Okie dokie. Yeah, because I may have some moving around I want to do this morning. I'm Rev Ann Rea. I am blessed beyond measure to be the spiritual guidepost for this extraordinary community, with this extraordinary community. You guys leave me speechless all the time. And I am grateful. Good morning, Zoomies. Good morning, Facebookies. And everybody in the room. I am so happy to look into your faces today. So, it's February. Yep. And our theme for the month is falling in love. Because if we don't do it now, when are we going to? And today, as Carol said, we're taking a look at stopping doing. So the instruction is stop doing. Now, why is that instruction important? And oh my God, thank you, Carol, for those extraordinary readings.
Mhm.
I frankly can't remember the last time a practitioner got applause. But what I know is that our practitioners all deserve applause because they're doing their great work. We are doing our great work for, I'm not just your minister, I am first and foremost a practitioner, and we are doing our great work for all of you. When do you think? Every day. So if we're going to think about not doing, and there's so much emphasis right now on figuring out what to do,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Figuring out what to do not to be afraid, figuring out what to do not to be anxious, figuring out what to do to be an activist for good, figuring out what to do. And I'm here telling you, stop doing. And the reason that I'm I'm putting the emphasis on that this morning is because doing is not where our power lies. Being is where our power lies. And I'm not talking about the kind of power that has possibly occupied or preoccupied your attention over the last many days. I'm talking about the kind of power that comes with knowing what lies beyond the evidence. Now, I had a conversation with someone this week who said, I wish I could have done that better. There. That's a biggie. To know that the evidence, that the shenanigans, that the activities that appear to be happening or are happening are not the whole story. They're not the whole story. And our invitation is to look beyond what appears to be the story and remember what we know. I wrote to someone this week who was really feeling at the end of their rope. And I said, remember, because they were trying to figure out what to do. What do I do? How do I handle this? What do I do? And I said, before you spend any more time trying to figure out what to do, remember that there is a power for good in the universe. And it is all of life, at the center of all of life, at the circumference of all of life and beyond. And there is a plan unfolding. And that's not just Ann Rea's woo-woo. Although that's worth something too, you know. The truth is there is a plan unfolding that we cannot yet see.
Right.
And gosh darn it, that is our biggest frustration.
Yeah.
Because if we can't see it, if we can't figure it out, if we can't put our finger on it, if we can't put a name to it, if we can't make it fit in a certain box, if we can't somehow be convincing, not only with ourselves, but with other people, that there is a plan unfolding, then how do we know? Because, you know, the only way that a human being has any credibility at all is if they can control their environment. Gotcha. Because the truth is, none of us are controlling our environment, and we never have. We control, and actually fascinating studies have been done about this. We control this much. And even that may be a bit of an exaggeration. And this much, y'all see my fingers, right? This much is represented by this. my arms, my legs, my mind, my choices, my decisions, my actions. That's what I control.
Mm-hmm.
My reactions, my responses. That's what I control. I don't control anything else.
That's right.
Oh my God. And I know that there are people who are so frustrated because they can't figure out, part of their doing is figuring out how to control something that is outside of their lane of control anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And for that I have compassion. For that I have compassion. We are invited by this life that lives by means of us. And Deborah put that so beautifully this morning, straight out of Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind. This life that lives by means of us and all of the rest of its creation the opportunity to live this life fully, majestically, fabulously, comfortably, healthfully, all of it is available. And in this little bitty bit that seems so insignificant, for those of us who are control junkies, in this little bitty bit, it doesn't seem like it makes that much difference. But let me tell you, it's all right, they'll adjust. Let me tell you, if we aren't making a difference in our own way of thinking, if we aren't making a difference in our own way of living, if we aren't making a difference in our own way of viewing life, it ain't going to happen any other way.
That's right.
It ain't going to happen because somebody else does it differently. Because a lot of somebody else's can do it differently, and we wouldn't even notice.
Mm-hmm.
It still would look like nobody's doing anything. Nobody's really trying. Nobody is really standing up for what aligns with what I believe, or what Stephen believes, or what Carol believes. Because we're waiting for them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the invitation is because we have all the tools we need. In that giant red toolbox that I keep talking about, we have all the tools we need. We may not fully know how to use them all. But by golly, we'll never know how to use them all if we don't try.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't pray. I can't pray because I don't have the training. And I don't know exactly the way to put all the words together. And I don't know, and how do I make sure that I'm being heard? And you think I'm kidding? There isn't a class I've ever taught where that hasn't been said to me. And I've taught a lot of classes. I can't meditate because I can't get my mind to be quiet. Well, honey, that's your first job. Is to remind your mind who's boss. Our phenomenal brains are not going to do that on their own, because that's not what they think is their job. So we have to re-educate our brains, God bless you on the truth, to know what their job is. And their job is to be helpful.
Yeah.
And if they can't be helpful, they should go solve something. But get out of our way. Because if they can't be helpful to us, our brain is meant to be our servant, not the other way around.
Yep.
And the blah blah that we hear from the committee that is all about us being its servant is thank you. Nonsense. Y'all know what I was thinking.
Yes.
So what in the world do we do if we're going to stop doing? That's a really good question to ask ourselves. Because stopping doing is really just an idea anyway. Stopping is one idea. Doing is another idea. Now, when we stop something, so let's say we come to a stop sign, right? Well, we stop, what do we stop doing? We stop moving. Right? Are you all with me or not?
Yes.
Okay, so when we come to a stop sign, what do? We stop moving. Phew. And when we stop moving, then what? Do we get on the phone? Rhetorical question. Do we get on the phone?
No.
Do we look for something that we, meant to make sure we knew where it was? Do we fully stop? But that requires an awareness. It requires an awareness. Denise and I, when we were driving here this morning, I was remembering being on Cerrillos, close to where it intersects with Paseo de Peralta and St. Francis. Y'all know where I was. I was on Cerrillos. And a car had flipped. From the looks of it, the shape the car was in, it had flipped many times. Now there was a lot of traffic at that time of day. How in the world, and Bob could answer this, I know, because Bob is a physicist, but I've never understood the physics of how a car can flip when it's not going fast. I can understand it if it's going fast, And if it, tries to make a sudden move or whatever, but this car was, as I said to Denise, it was like a wadded up Kleenex. Middle of the day. Now, whatever that driver was doing, and God knows I have compassion for the driver and everyone who is related to that driver and who cares about that driver, and I truly just affirm that all went well. But what was that driver doing? Because it wasn't stopping to pay attention. And one of the things that we can check in with ourselves about, a couple of weeks ago, your assignment, you probably remember so clearly, your assignment was to stop long enough, to slow down long enough, to catch the little wonders that show up during the day.
Yes.
The little wonders. Like this morning, we had a robin in our yard, in our bird bath. And that would have been no big deal when we lived up on the hill, just before we moved. But now to have a robin in the yard is a big deal. How do you know you have a robin in the yard? Because you pay attention. Because you stop long enough to pay attention. And that is catching a wonder. Now, there may be some of you sitting there thinking, robin schmobbins, I could care less about robins, and that's fine. But we all have things that just catch us like a little treasure that shows up in our world. In order to catch those treasures, in order to catch the opportunity to be present and to actually invite ourselves to stay in alignment with the natural order that Carol spoke so beautifully of this morning, we have to stop. We have to get off of automatic pilot. I'm not shooting on you, I'm have-toing on you. And there's a big difference. We have to get off of automatic pilot. We have to slow down. We have to stop and think about what we're thinking about. The last example of this particular thing that I want to touch on this morning is the conversations we have. Because some of us, anyway, are very engaged in what's wrong with everything conversations. Or what might be wrong with everything. Or if this happens, what's likely to be wrong with everything. How in the world can we be focused on what could be, might be, probably will be wrong with everything? How in the world can we be focused there and find a single wonder in the world?
Exactly.
Our world is full of good. We are lavished whether we realize it or not, we are lavished with the desire of the divine to comfort us, to guide us, to invite us into ways of thinking and being that actually expand us so that we are greater generators of good ourselves. But if we're engaged in conversations about how awful everything is or might be, or probably will be, because there's a difference between probably will and might. There's a lot more faith in probably will than there is in might. And there's plenty of faith in might. What in the world do we want to be investing ourselves in terms of what we're thinking about and what we're supporting?
That's it.
Because this isn't it. I'll just tell you, this isn't it. The conversations that some of us are getting into, the news that some of us are watching, the thoughts that we're entertaining in our minds that are fear-based thoughts. Am I saying that everything's just hunky-dory in the world? No. I'm not. What I'm saying is, remember this. Remember this. This is what we control. And when we put our focus here and how to use this for good as it is intended, how to support, because believe me, if there is an idea of injury, if there is an idea of harm, if there is an idea of something that is undoing what is already in place that is good, there is also an idea of health. There is also an idea of maintaining the good. There is also an idea of people and things showing up in ways that we can't imagine to make a difference so that the things that we're so afraid of being possibly our experience are not.
Amen. That's right.
And while I'm at it,
Another thing.
while we're so afraid of stuff that might be our experience, what do we do with all that fear when it's not?
Mm-hmm.
What do we do with all that fear when everything works out great? What do we do with all that fear and all that doubt and all that anxiety? What do we do with it all when whatever it is has passed? What do we do with it all? I'll tell you what we do with it all. Our bodies have already absorbed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not good.
Mm-mm.
Because our bodies have no place to put it. And so we can't sleep. And our appetites are affected one way or the other. And we find ourselves being nervous, even around friends. And we're whatchamacallit may end up with a thingamajig. Because our bodies do their best to take care of what we can't. I don't want to give my body that job.
No.
I don't want to do that. Everybody go like that. Now, what we also know this means is what?
Okay.
Okay. Right?
Right.
This is what we control. Let's do it. Let's put our focus here. Let's keep in touch with what we know, with how protected and loved and guided we are. Even if we aren't in touch with it at the moment, it is still happening.
Mm-hmm.
There is no place, there is no time where it is not happening. And so it is.
And so it is.
The Buddha's lesson for today is non-attachment to outcomes.
There you go.
I'm reading the Drobeck and his cat and getting all of his together.
Yes. Who's Kelsey? Yes.
Another job.
Get in the game, girl.
Just in case you were tired of seeing her, here she is again.
This is now our time of conscious giving. Would the ushers please come forward?
Can you get the microphone? Can you get the microphone?
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Maybe
I can
there's
do that.
a great addition.
There might be.
It's great on tape.
So as you all know, we are self-supporting through our own contributions. And we are all a generous lot. And I know that if you put something in the basket other than cash or checks, that it is also welcomed and appreciated. It is part of our abundance. And so let us say that the prayer, our prayer of consciousness, the love of Spirit, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive abundantly. And so it is. Thank you, Joseph. Music for abundance, that's what that was. Music for abundance. And so we bless all these gifts in whatever form they take, because they nurture our center, they nurture each other, they nurture the land and the place we live in and beyond. And that is what we are about. Nurturing and abundance, and we're grateful for all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is.
So it is.
Go ahead, let turn back there. Or you can breathe here.
Yes, you can sit down now.
So we're going to share a song co-written by Hoagie Carmichael called "The Nearness of You," and very expansive song. It's Charly. It's very, very
I always think it's not the nearness of you, it's the nearness of you.
Thank you.